Criminal Code definition of murder. The Criminal Code defines murder as killing someone, where the killer meant to cause the person's death or meant to cause bodily harm that was likely to result in their death. There are 2 degrees of murder. First-degree murder is when the killing is planned and deliberate. In other words, where the murder was premeditated. However, some killings that aren't premeditated are still automatically first degree, such as the killing of a police officer or when the killing takes place during the commission of a hijacking, kidnapping or sexual assault. Those convicted of first-degree murder receive an automatic life sentence with no chance of parole for 25 years. Second-degree murder is defined in the code as all murders that are not first degree but where the killing was still intentional. Generally speaking, it applies to those murders that are spontaneous and weren't planned in advance. For example, a husband who had no plans to kill his wife but, once they started fighting, meant to kill her. As with first-degree murder, those convicted of second degree receive an automatic life sentence. However, the judge can set their parole eligibility at anywhere between 10 and 25 years. Manslaughter is defined in the code as a culpable homicide that is not murder, in other words, where someone, such as a drunk driver, killed another person unintentionally. Someone can also be found guilty of manslaughter instead of murder, if the killing was committed in the heat of passion, as a result of a provocation that would cause an ordinary person to lose self-control. There is no mandatory minimum sentence for manslaughter but the maximum penalty is life in prison. Is abortion murder? The personhood of the fetus is clearly the crucial issue for abortion, for, if the fetus is not a person, abortion is not the deliberate killing of an innocent person. If it is, it is. All other aspects of the abortion controversy are relative to this one. For example, women have rights over their own bodies but not over other persons' bodies. The law must respect a right to privacy but killing other persons is not a private but a public deed. Persons have a right to life but non-persons, for example, cells, tissues, organs, and animals do not. Pro-choicers make a triple distinction among a human life, a human being and a human person. Each cell in our bodies has human life, and a single cell kept alive in a laboratory could be called a human life but certainly not a human being or a human person. A human being is a biologically whole individual of the species. Even a human being born with no brain is a human being, not an ape, but it is not a person, because it has no brain and cannot do anything distinctively human: think, know, choose, love, feel, desire, commit, relate, aspire, know itself, know God, know its past, know its future, know its environment, or communicate, all of which have, in various combinations, been offered as the marks of a person. The pro-life position seems to confuse the sanctity of the person with the sanctity of life, which is 2 steps removed from it. Pro-choicers say the very young product of conception, the zygote, has no ability to perform any of the distinctive activities that anyone associates with personhood: reasoning, choosing, loving, communicating, etc., not even feeling pain, for the zygote has no brain or nervous system. At first it is only a single cell. How could anyone call a single cell a person? Pro-choicers claim that personhood begins not at conception, but develops gradually, as a matter of degree. Every one of the characteristics we use to identify personhood arises and grows gradually rather than suddenly. The fetus is potentially a person, but it must grow into an actual person. Pro-choicers will say that personhood is not a clear concept. There is not universal agreement on it. Different philosophers, scientists, religionists, moralists, mothers, and observers define it differently. It is a matter of opinion where the dividing line between persons and non-persons should be located. But what is a matter of opinion should not be decided or enforced by law. Law should express social consensus, and there is no consensus in our society about personhood's beginning or, consequently, about abortion. One opinion should not be forced on all. Pro-choice is not pro-abortion but, precisely, pro-choice. Thus there are 4 and only 4 possibilities: that it is not a person and we know that it is a person and we know that it is a person but we do not know that, and that it is not a person and we do not know that. Now what is abortion in each of these 4 cases? In case 1, abortion is perfectly permissible. We do no wrong if we kill what is not a person and we know it is not a person. G. If we fry fish. But no one has ever proved with certainty that a fetus is not a person. If there exists anywhere such a proof, please show it to me and I shall convert to pro-choice on the spot, if I cannot refute it. Please don't think that those who advocate family planning are advocating abortion. Most are not. We advocate family planning not only because it improves lives of children, women, and families where resources are scarce, but because family planning prevents abortions. Unfortunately, abortions are performed illegally, whether we like it or not, and in some countries, such as China, they are legal and they are encouraged. The Global Gag Rule does nothing to stop illegal abortions or abortions in countries where abortion is legal. The Global Gag Rule does the opposite. It decreases funding for aid for international family planning, that is, contraceptives and other birth control methods, reproductive health services and family planning counseling. The result of the Global Gag Rule is more abortions, not less. In China, where the U.S. Agency for International Development family planning programs cannot operate, the UN has been working with China by introducing contraceptives and health clinics. The result is that, in counties where these programs exist, there are fewer abortions. So in closing, if you do not want to get pregnant, then use condoms or birth control items, so that abortions can stop and people can have a more healthy family within all communities. L.